Okay, here we go. It's Wednesday again. Welcome to the stream. Okay, here we go. It's Wednesday again. Let's make sure the sound is working. I think we're good. So Boston Providence tonight. Hey Train Spotter, that was quick. I think I run something in the ACS 64, but hopefully not in the snow. I'm getting sick of the sight of snow on this route, to be honest. So this is an early morning service. Let's get everything set up. Into passenger, get the lights on. Yes, I picked the season ticket up over the weekend. I thought, why not? Let's try something new. So I did that, but I'm having a bit of fun with these safety systems because on this, I don't know what you think. I don't know if you've got this Train Spotter, but on this ACS 64, it works fine. On the pink loco that we've got, there is one of the warnings can't be acknowledged from the circle button. You've got to click the actual button itself on the panel, and that's tripped me up a couple of times. I don't know if that's by design or whether we should be able to acknowledge everything from the circle button. I'm hoping it's a bit of a bug, but yeah, it's been a bit annoying, to be honest. But I do like it though. I have missed the old NEC route that we used to have. I used to quite like that, although the graphics were terrible on the PS4. Okay, get the brakes off. Yes, I thought I'd have a run in this, the complete length of the line one way, and then I'll come back perhaps with the other loco, but I'll turn the safety systems off. I'll still follow the speeds, but I'll turn the actual warnings off so it doesn't trip me up. Okay, so we can get up to 30. Is everything sorted now, Train Spotter, with your DLCs? Did you do the upgrade in the end? I think it's all sorted now, apart from I think some people are having a couple of problems with I think the 182, and there was something else, some other loco DLC, but I think generally it's fixed. Okay, let's accelerate up to 60. Oh, I didn't realise the liveries were blurred. I've not seen that issue. That's interesting. And is that just on the PlayStation, or is that happening on Xbox as well? Got you. Yeah, I've not seen that one. That particular issue advertised. I did watch the stream last night of the new German route. Looks quite nice. I did like the night lighting. Looked pretty nice. I don't know about the route itself. The route seems very A to B again. You know, without those branch lines that were promised at the beginning. But I mean, it looked like a nice run, so we'll see how that goes. Are you getting the? I assume you'll be getting the season ticket, because if you want the German one, I know you want the Brighton line that's coming out. Probably makes sense, doesn't it, to get the season ticket? Some freight in the yard. It's all static though. There's let me get myself sorted out. That's better. There is no freight on this route, unfortunately. Oh, it's emergency brake me, hasn't it, again? Not to worry. Right, take that off. There we go. So I put that brake into suppression and it took me out of the emergency. So we didn't quite fully stop. But yeah, I was saying there's some they started doing that on these routes now, putting some static traffic in various places to make it look a bit more lived in, but there is no freight, unfortunately, on this. Wouldn't surprise me if they had it at a later stage. We had freight on the other NEC route, didn't we? So I would expect it to make an appearance. Got a 60 coming up. Yeah, it's only £8, I think. It's for 3 routes. It's still good value, isn't it? If ever you're going to buy any routes new, these are probably the ones. The majority of routes that come out, you can probably wait till sale and get a few quid off, but in this case, it's a bit of a no-brainer. Then you just need to find yourself a PS5 and you're in business. Okay, so we can speed up to 125 now. Just keep registering at all the sites as well. I know base.com, you can register on there, and I did register there right at the beginning, and I got this PS5 in December, and I think in January or February the base actually sent me an email and said, we've got one for you. You have to pay for it by the end of the week if you want it, but of course I didn't need it, so I didn't take them up on that offer. But it is worth registering with them, base.com, and they'll put you in a queue. As soon as they've got one, they'll let you know. Dave, that comes on the stream, he got his from base. He did the same thing. He registered with them. You know, rather than having to keep looking at each individual website, you could perhaps register. Yeah, actually that's going to be an interesting session on Friday, because Matt knows what he's talking about. But I must admit, American routes, I tend to drive by what it tells me in the top right hand corner there. I don't actually look at the signals, whereas when you're driving in the German routes, obviously in using PZB, you can look at the signals and know what's coming up. With this, I know there's multiple lights on each sort of stanchion, and I'm never quite sure which is my correct signal, so I'll be interested to see that. I don't recall there ever being a tutorial on that before from DTG, so it'll be interesting. So if we look at this, for example, the top one's obviously my light there, but I don't know what the bottom one means, unless that's a freight signal. Not sure. Right, I can go back to 125 here. Yeah, base.com are very good, Transporter. I mean, I don't know if you buy any games that on disc, or whether you buy them all digitally, but certainly if you're buying something on disc, they tend to be a little bit cheaper there as well. So accelerating up to 125 miles an hour. On our way to Route 128. Strange name for a station, but there you go. To be honest, this station is on a straight line, and there's been a couple of times where I've shot straight through it, so I need to be careful. Yep, no worries, Train Spotter. It's a good website. There's probably others you can register for as well, but I know that one in particular is pretty good. Yeah, like Route 66. So this is 128. This stretch here is very, very West Coast main line. It'll come quite soon, I'm sure. I don't know if they've always sold the hardware at base, but I think I'm on the mailing list, and I think just towards the end of last year they just sent me something saying register your interest. So I did straight away. And whilst everybody was struggling to get one, I actually got one from BT because they do me broadband, and then, like I said, base offered me one a couple of months later. So they are there if you know where to look. $15 miles, 14 miles to go now. Oh, look at that there on the left. It does that sometimes, doesn't it? It sort of makes locos and passing trains shimmer. That was in the old version as well, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Ah, we love a good flyby. We can turn the bell off now. Still get that occasionally on these routes as well, where the bushes at the side come through the window. They clip through. Which is another strange one. $10 miles to go. As I said, I must remember to slow down early enough for this station. I think the top speed for this ACS 64 is actually 125. As I remember from the DTG streams. So we're nearly at the limit. Nice bit of cab sway as well going on this section. I think I did have that set to 200 when this version came out last week, the week before. I've dialed it back down now to about 150. I found it a bit too bouncy, so it's about 150% just now. I find that a bit more realistic. Don't know actually. Do we get anything between the coaches? Yeah, there's a little bit. There's a little bit going on. The effect of the sun's really nice, especially on this loco, of how shiny it is. Well, we've got 4.7 miles, so I'm actually going to start backing it down very slightly. Hey Dorco, how you doing? Thanks for dropping in. Just over 3 miles. You're welcome, Dorco. Nice to see you. I'll just roll in the rest of the way. We've got just under a minute to be on time, so we'll be pushing it, but okay, that was weird. It gave me 100 and then immediately went back to 125. Let's back it down a little bit more. I do find it more difficult to stop in a station that is on a straight. Whether that's psychological, because if you know there is a station coming around a bend, the bend is your sort of final approach, as it were. But yeah, the amount of times I've shot through this station, not braking in time, but it's also getting used to the locos and what the braking capability is and how long you need to stop from whatever speed. But it seems to just come up on you, this one. A lot of people have said that about the LGV route as well, the station in the middle, Aix-en-Provence. People tend to overshoot on that one as well. But we're just coming in nicely. We're only slightly over on time. Look at all those passengers. Brilliant. I've done it a couple of times, Train Spotter, right at the beginning. I must admit, I think it's just getting used to the route, isn't it? Once you've played it enough, you know where things are. There's people getting off. There's people getting on. This is unheard of on PlayStation. Okay, they're coming out of the ceiling, but that doesn't really matter, does it? As long as they're getting on and getting off. Here they come. Not sure where they're all going. Looks a bit like Day of the Dead. But as long as somebody's getting on the train, I don't care. It's really nice to see that. Okay, so we can lock the doors. And we can go right up to 125 straight from here. And the next station will be Boston Back Bay in 10 miles. I think that work on the passengers is coming though, Train Spotter, isn't it? I think they said that, they want people to read newspapers and talk on mobile phones. I think the only thing they've got a problem with at the moment, they said, was adding children, for example. So all the characters at the moment are all the same height. I don't think there is the facility to be able to add anyone smaller than the current height. But they definitely want to make the passengers do a few more things. I mean, they could put static passengers in as well, couldn't they? That have got bags around them, because they've now got on this route they've got the dioramas, the static workmen on this route dotted around, and they could probably put some passengers in there with baggage, just as a starter. So we've got 4 minutes to do 8.8 miles. I think that's pushing it, but best to get there safely than not at all. So the next route, the Dresden route that they showed last night, I think normally once they've shown it, it usually comes out within a couple of weeks. So maybe not next week, the week after, we may get our hands on it. I did see that from my perspective. Certainly, there are no new locos in that pack. There's the reskinned 363 shunter, which I've got the 363, the red 363 on Rose Ignored. But there's nothing new as such. And that's just because I've got all the DLC at the moment. But it did look like there's going to be plenty to do on that route, which is the main thing. And there is a chance to do timetabled services as well with that existing stock, rather than just running them on the route that they originally came with. Okay, so we can go to 120. Okay, back it down to 100. So I don't want to shoot through this station either, so I'm going to bring it down a little bit just while I'm learning the route. Okay. So the safety systems are taking us all the way down to 45. So it went from 45 back to 120, which is a bit strange. But that is signal based, so maybe there is something ahead of us somewhere. I'll still back it down. Yeah, still wants us to do 45. I don't think they did they say either way about the layers. I can't remember what was said now last night. I might rewatch it actually, although we have got another stream of it tomorrow night, which is probably going to be the better one because it's Matt and Sam, isn't it, tomorrow night? I mean, you would hope it gets to layers. I do have to say, as we saw last week when I ran one of the services, the Munich Augsburg line, what a difference it makes. Just because on the PS5 we've now got all the layers. It's like a different route. It felt very heavily restricted with just those standard stock on there previously. Yeah, I quite like Matt and Sam doing it. I actually quite like Nat doing it, to be honest, as well. I think Natalie's settled in quite well. Starting to come into the city now. This is Boston, just in the distance. It's bringing us down to 30. This is Boston Back Bay. Just release the brake and roll down to the end. Now, whilst we're here, did see a map. See if there's anything else just while I'm waiting. One of those. What else have we got? We must have a poster somewhere. Unless I've already done that. I've already done that. Ah, here's one of the dioramas that I was talking about. So these guys are just randomly placed in different places, so we could have passengers with luggage just standing around. Been to Boston. Quickly rush back up to the train. With that many passengers now, it's difficult to squeeze past them all. Let's have a look inside. The Buffy car. That's actually quite nice. Nope, I don't want to give up control. Okay, so we get the doors locked. Now we've got the slow approach now into Boston itself, into the main station. So we've got a 30, then we've got a 15, then we've got a 10 as we go in. However, the safety system is limiting us to a 20 just now. So I think, Transporter, you could have your Brighton route fairly quick if you look at the if we expect the Dresden route in another couple of weeks. What's that, about a month since Boston will have been released, so another month after that, talking perhaps beginning of October. I don't know if that would quite fit with the summer that they were talking about for all three routes. Although they did say rush hour was coming in summer, didn't they? So that doesn't necessarily mean all three routes. I don't know, it gets confusing. Yeah, end of this month, yeah. That's about right. Hi, my dog speaks the truth. Welcome to the stream. So, all you need to do for the safety systems is, you can see now on the HUD, I've got, the safety system is telling me the maximum is 20, but the red dot is saying the line speed is 10. So all you need to remember is always just use the lowest speed. So here, if I go over 10, I will get a warning. Sometimes the speed there next to the ATC is the lowest speed, so it swaps around. But at the moment, we've got the ATC's telling us 20, but the line speed's 10. So always take the lowest. Whatever situation you're in, always take the lowest, and then you should be fine. And I don't know if you're on PlayStation, but there is a slight issue with the safety systems on the other locos. This one, this ACS 64, they work okay. You can use the circle button to acknowledge the safety systems, but on the other locos, especially the pink one, The circle isn't letting you acknowledge every safety system. You do have to press the red button on the panel, which is a bit annoying. Must be a bug. So I'm using the safety systems on this loco, but I'm not using them yet on the others until they fix them. The same principle applies if you've got the Long Island Railroad as well. It's a similar thing on there. If you turn on the safety systems, always go for the lowest speed of the two, and you should be in business. This is Boston. Let's get everybody off. A quick look around Boston. Another diorama sat over there. So it wasn't a bad run. 43, just under 43.5 miles, and it took us 46 minutes, end to end. So I think what we'll do is we'll go from Boston, and we'll go up the branch line to Stoughton. I think everybody's calling it. Let's have a look. In fact, you know what? Let's let's go to Stoughton. That's interesting. Explore on foot, and apparently I've done 218 miles on foot, which is a bit ridiculous. If you look down the bottom left, 218 miles I've done driving, but not on foot. So I don't quite understand that. Another little bug. Right, so let's go in the F40. We'll go back out Boston to Staunton. Let's just move 821. Let's do 821. No problem, my dog. Anytime. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm not going to put the safety systems on for this. There's the red button, which I was talking about. So you can cancel sometimes with the circle, other times with the red button, and it just gets a bit confusing. And it just breaks the immersion a little bit for me. So let's get this started up. Let's have all these three on. The headlights are down here. Let's have those on bright. Reverser in. Set to forward. Gauge lights. Step lights. Let's have the full works. Then we need to set the brakes, so we'll cut those in. Make sure we're in lead. Then just a quick look on the back wall. So the front markers are off, rear markers off. We'll put the number lights on, platform lights. I won't bother with the alerter either. The HEP is already on, so we've got power along the coaches. Then inside here is where we actually turn on the safety systems if we were using them. So safety devices there, warning devices, but as I said, this time. Until we get a fix, I'm not going to use those. So open the window so we can have a bit of the outside sound. Okay, so we can get underway. Takes a few seconds for the brakes to come off on this one. I haven't seen as much traffic going in and out of the station yet as we saw on the DTG streams. Now whether that was about 8 o'clock when Matt showed that, and he was stood on the end of the platform at Boston. There's quite a bit going in and out. There is in the scenarios, definitely, but just generally I haven't seen too much going in and out. Yeah, it does seem quiet, although there is something just coming out behind us, look. So I'm assuming he's staying here on the left and he's going out into the portal down this left hand side. He's not actually following us. The depot is also down that side. We should be able to speed up to 15 any second now. There we go. So this branch line down to Staunton, I actually really like it. I've only been down there once as part of one of the scenarios. It was one of the snow scenarios, and actually it was quite good. Different contrast to this main line. A single line track for most of the way, but it's quite nice. So this is Back Bay Station again. This is actually the type of route where you could spend a few hours going end to end. I've never really done that. I've tended to do a service, then jump somewhere else and do another service on a different route. I think with this one you could actually, you could actually get into it and do a few runs end to end. It's got that kind of feel to it. Now maybe that's because of the increased passengers and just the general buzz about the route. Now if they apply some of that to the other routes, then it could only get really better. It has been sadly lacking on some of those routes for quite a while. It's going to be great, for example, to see people walking around Northern Transpennine a little bit more. Get that busier. He's dressed like a magician. Paul Daniels. You're gonna like it, not a lot. So we now get to our old friend Route 128 before then we get to Canton and we start to turn off down the branch line. There's so many passengers now, they get so close to the edge of the platform. Definitely stepping over that yellow line, I reckon. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I was on Great Western over the weekend. There are a few more passengers on there. It's the old passenger models, but that's a slight improvement in itself. But I know the passenger information systems are there, but they're not in use yet. So that's certainly going to come in. But yeah, Great Western Express is one of the original routes as well, isn't it? So it'd be nice to see that. And NTP, as I said, I like that anyway. They can do so much with that. It's still my favourite route, I think. Northern Transpennine. So I think the max speed of this loco is 80. And right now we can run up to 90 if we had the oomph. So 125 for the ACS 64, this one, and obviously the cab car on the back, up to 80. It must be a bit nerve-wracking, that train spotter anyway, as a real driver, when you see people just, if you drive one of these trains that isn't stopping and you're going through a platform, you must hold your breath to begin with. There's nothing physically to stop any kind of accident, is there? Apart from advice to stay away from the platform edge. There's nothing really that can prevent it. Okay, so we're coming up to speed, but 8 miles to go to Route 128. quick look at the outside. So it is letting us go past 80 miles an hour. So we're okay as long as we don't go over 90 at the moment. I know the theme of this route, DTG was saying, is winter and snow and cold. A lot of the scenarios are done in the snow. Actually, I quite like it like this. I quite like the summer feel of it. I am working my way through the journey mode, and a lot of that is quite bad weather, frost, clouds of sort of, you know, cold. I don't know how you would call it, sort of freezing fog. There's a lot of that blowing past, which is a little bit distracting, but let's take that under 90. But I prefer it like this, I think. I prefer this summer weather. You can just see a little bit more. You can see a little bit more of the route. So if I come back out now, just cycle these cameras. It's much nicer. .4 miles. In most cases, I found it very difficult to keep to time as well, so far. Again, it's about learning the route, knowing your stopping points, etc. Personally, I probably lose most of my time in coming in too slow to certain stations, but I do speed that up the more that I learn the route. .9 miles. Yeah, this particular station, my dog, yeah, I was saying this at the beginning of the stream, is that this one, I've been struggling with this one because because it's in a straight line. I've started to overcompensate, I think, with the braking now to get into this one. Playing it quite cautious. I think the brakes in this loco as well act very differently to the ACS 64. So if you're running them alternatively, you'll just get used to the braking of one and then move to the next loco and find there's not enough brake and you'll shoot through. The brakes on this one are pretty good, actually. But the ACS, I've flown through there a few times in that, I must admit. You see how fast that's going down now, 0.8 of a mile. It soon comes up 0.7. Start bringing it down. Once we get to 0.6, then we've just got the 900 yards to go. So just put the brake in minimum now. Now we're around the 30 mark. Take it off for a little bit. Just roll in. But yeah, the other day when I was first playing this, I came into this station and I must have cleared the whole platform by at least 2 train lengths. I was going that fast. I shot straight through, put the emergency brake on and still went through. But that's driver training for you. It must be psychological. It must be because it's on a straight line. So there we are, this is Route 128. So we're stopping at Canton Central next, and then I think we've got Canton Junction. And then we've got Staunton at the end of the branch line. Canton Junction is next. So we can accelerate up to 45. 45 again is the lesser of the 2 speeds, so we'll go with that. It's got very good acceleration actually, this loco as well. I don't know quite how this differs from the one on Peninsula Corridor, but I always quite like driving it on there as well. Although I don't like the brakes. Those lapping brakes that we've got on Peninsula Corridor, I'm not a big fan of those. Seems to be a lot more hard work than it needs to be honest. So just 3 miles to go, just under 3 miles to Canton Junction. That's a good question, that, my dog. Actually, when you watch the tutorial, it does tell you to do that. Um, when I was watching one of the DTG streams again, rewatching it over the weekend, I noticed when Matt was playing one of these services, he didn't actually change it. It's up there, isn't it? I've got it pointing upwards. Feed through. I know if you turn it to the right, it's long hood, but Matt didn't do it, so I've just left that off this time around. But it is a good question. Yeah, it seems to work as it is, as on the default when you come into the cab. You don't need to change it. So I don't actually know whether that changes anything physically to the operation of the loco. Let's bring this down to 30 now. Ready for the turn off. But I can't see that it's made a difference leaving it where it is, so I've just left it for now. So just looking at the map, you can see where Canton Junction is, and then we take a left down the branch line. So just as a favour, anybody that is watching that isn't subscribed, if you'd subscribe for me, that would be excellent. That would really help me. Really appreciate that. Just trying to get more exposure to anybody that plays the game, really. So we're going uphill slightly on a 0.8 gradient, so try to keep it around the 30 that it's asking for. Thanks, my dog, appreciate that. And I tend to stream, I put videos up in between, but I tend to stream on a Wednesday just for a couple of hours. So if you're around on Wednesdays, feel free to drop in, you're more than welcome. No particular set agenda, just run a couple of services really. Whatever takes our fancy. Any requests that anybody's got, we'll do that. I've got all the DLC currently, so we can run anything really. It's fine. Okay, so we need to take it down to 20 per the ATC. See, this is what I love, right? Turning off a main line and going down somewhere. That's why it's a pity when the Dresden route comes out. We've not got those branch lines that they originally promised. I love doing that. Hey Nathan, how you doing? Welcome. So this is Canton Junction. And we're not actually doing so bad for time now. Made a little bit of time up. Let's see if we can see the steps now. I think that's really cool how it does that, depending whether you've got a lower platform or a raised platform, such as this one. The steps do a different animation. It's pretty cool. Canton Centre is the next one, just 850 yards. Not far to go at all, really. So, my dog, if you're still there, what are you playing it on? Are you on PlayStation or Xbox, PC? What platform are you using? PS5, excellent. We've said this on previous streams, but what a difference it makes. If you're lucky enough to be able to, if you've been on PS4 and you get a chance, or Xbox, and you get a chance to upgrade to the next gen console, what a difference. The PC gang have had this kind of level of detail for quite some time. It's surprising what you actually get used to, and then you see this and it's a different world. All those old DLCs that you bought in the past suddenly, get new life breathed into them. Just from a level of detail that you've just not seen before. It's always been there, it's just been dialed down. So it's been quite fun actually going back through all the DLCs that we've got. Although since moving to the PlayStation 5 version on the first day, I still haven't been back and visited every single route yet. Oh, I don't know what's going on there. Somebody's stuck between the floor and the rail, and they're morphing. I wonder if that's to do with the lowered platform, perhaps, and they should be spawning here level with the floor, but because this is dropped, it appears that they're trying to spawn, but they're spawning in the floor. Not to worry, I can forgive them that. So we've got our last stop, which is Stoughton, 3.2 miles. The marker lights, so when you put the marker lights on, if you're in this cab, when you put the marker lights on, it's these will turn red. So if you're driving this service back and you're using the cab car at the back, you would first turn these to red just to signify the back of the train, and obviously turn the headlights off. So in the US, I believe marker lights are the names for what we would call them tail. I don't know where you're from, my dog. I don't know if you're in the UK or not, but certainly we would call them tail lights. Marker lights just the equivalent. So I don't think on this route either it sets them up automatically. You've actually got to go into the rear cab and switch those on. They're on the back wall. They're up here somewhere. Yep. So you've got front markers, which was the ones we were just looking at, and you've got rear markers, which are somewhere back here. These ones. So if you're a light engine, you could put the rear ones on to signify the back of the train, but that's all it is. See what I mean about the contrast between the main line and the branch line? I quite like this branch line. You go from the high-speed section to the quite relaxing run out to Stoughton. Just with the marker lights as well, what I didn't do was put the marker lights on the back here, so there's none, but these are the marker lights on this particular, on the cab car. There is a button just inside. Can I do it through here? Don't know. Nope, doesn't let me select it. So max speed at the moment 30, and we've got a 10 coming up just as we pull into the station. I don't actually know, my dog, if there's a manual for this route yet. I know it's one thing that DTG are trying to improve on, because we mentioned on the stream last week, if you don't watch DTG streams or something like this, for example, half the time you wouldn't know what the majority of the stuff does on these locos, or even how to get them going. I only know because I watch the DTG streams all the time, and I kind of learn most of the stuff from there, over the years. But the manuals are sadly lacking in some cases. It's strange because they've produced some for some routes, but not for others. Oh, the bell is complicated. So I don't quite know, there are certain rules of when, yes, leaving stations and crossings, that's right. There is a rule. What's the rule called, Train Spotter? Rule 5 or something. I've probably got that completely wrong, but there is a code for when you activate the bell. and the horn. No, Transporter, I'm looking for you to correct me. I think these trains are forever blowing the horn and leaving the bell on. But it's because of the rules. Actually, Train Spotter, you mentioned on Friday, Matt is doing the signalling tutorial for the American trains, which will be good to watch. It wouldn't surprise me if he also mentions the bell and when to sound the horn on the. Certainly, one of us can ask him, and he'll explain that. He has explained it before, but it's a while back. I think if you think about Peninsular Corridor, once you get to that section where you're sort of around Palo Alto, around there's quite a lot of crossings. I think you'd be forever sounding the bell right through that section. Just approaching Stoughton, and we've got the 10 mile an hour coming up, about 500 yards just on the approach. So put a bit of brake in. Quite a steep gradient, that, nearly a 1%. So this is Stoughton. Nice little run from Boston to Stoughton, just to finish off. And that's it. 18 miles down the branch line from Boston, 41 minutes. Quite a pleasant little trip. And as I said, I think we'll finish there for tonight. Thanks everybody for joining me once again. It's been a pleasure. Nice to chat to you all, and I will probably be back next Wednesday, same time, around sort of 6 p.m. UK time. So hopefully I will see you then. Thanks for joining. Cheers, my dog. Speak to you all soon. Bye for now.